Greetings, greenhouse people. We are back at it with another episode of Tech on Demand brought to you by the fine folks at Grower Talks magazine. If you don't receive Grower Talks and Green Profit every month, head over to growertalks.com and subscribe. The magazine has been a pillar of the industry for more than 75 years, and it's about time you join the club. And speaking of subscribing, be sure to subscribe to the Tech on Demand podcast on your favorite podcast app, like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, and more. If you have an extra minute to leave us a positive review, it would be awesome. Every little bit helps our algorithms and allows us to reach more greenhouse professionals. I'm your host, Bill Calkins, and today is all about seed, and my guest is definitely a seed guy. Side note, you're going to hear the word seed a lot in the next half hour or so, which is just fine by me. Anyways, my guest is Josh Kirschenbaum, the seed supply manager at Ball Seed, and he's been in this role since the beginning of 2025. But check this out. Prior to that, he worked as the business and portfolio manager for PanAmerican Seed Company's vegetable program, and before working at PanAmerican, he was the product development director at Territorial Seed Company, a garden catalog company based in Oregon. Oh, and Josh is currently a board member of the National Garden Bureau. He's a seed guy all the way, and a friend, which I think comes across pretty clearly in this episode. Here's what you can expect from the conversation. Our shared fascination with the new OPEX Perfect Pick Machine Ball introduced earlier this year. Josh described it as a climate-controlled vending machine for seed packets that can pull 20 orders at a time, resulting in speedy service and increased accuracy in order fulfillment. Check out the video and article link in the show notes to see this thing in action. And Josh explains it was built for the future with plenty of space for even more seed, which segues us into the rest of the podcast. I challenged Josh to come up with 3 reasons why seed solves problems and why it's still a preferred way to produce amazing crops. He takes us through the economic benefits, why flexibility and efficiency are optimized when starting from seeds or plugs, and finally, the amazing innovation and quality of genetics available from seed. Throughout the conversation, we touch on many more aspects of his role that's been at the core of Ball's business for more than a century. Josh is a passionate seed guy who completely understands the global nature of our industry, how innovative breeding drives our future, and the importance of quality seed in large-scale plug production, and the legacy seed has in horticulture. Josh brings so much enthusiasm to the episode, and I really love talking to him. You will be fired up about the current state of seed and how bright the future looks if you listen all the way to the end. I guarantee it. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. Josh, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Bill. It is great to be here.
I was actually looking back through the archives to see when the last time was we recorded, and because it kind of feels like yesterday, but it wasn't. It was May of 2018.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it does seem
we were
a
like
lot
children
more
then.
recent. I know. I had like no wrinkles back then.
I know. That's
and
great.
Now look at me. Well, fortunately, the listeners cannot see all of the wrinkles, so that's a benefit.
It's so true. That was like 7 years ago. You were heading up the vegetable division at PanAmerican Seed, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And I had just launched the first podcast that I did, which was STEM, and was managing marketing for Ball Seed, which is funny because now we're talking about Ball Seed. And it really just means we need to do this more often.
You are absolutely right. And it's also nice to see our evolution too.
It's true. It's so true. And as I mentioned in your bio, you're now the seed supply manager for Ball Seed. And that's a title with a lot of history. And I remember when you were talking at the Ball Seed sales meeting about kind of the history of the department and that position within Ball. And it goes back decades. Because seed's really always been the backbone of Ball. Can you talk a little bit about this legacy and maybe how your current role is an evolution of really more than 100 years of focus on seed supply?
Yeah. I would argue that it's centuries, not decades.
True.
Because it's absolutely crazy to think about. It all started with George J. Ball selling the orange calendula seed, and that was developed over 100 years ago.
Wow.
And at that time, seed was pretty much the only, or not certainly the main way that growers were propagating things.
Mm-hmm.
And so from that one seed variety that started ball seed, if you will, to where we're at now, like between our annual seed flowers, perennials, cut flowers, vegetables, we now have over 5,400 different varieties of
Wow.
seed that we offer from over 100 different suppliers around the world. And so I would say that certainly things have evolved tremendously over that amount of time. But there's also some things that kind of stay the same, and that is we want to offer at Ball Seed all the best and nothing less. It's been really nice. I mean, it is the name of the company is Ball Seed Company, and I am constantly reminding my colleagues about that. But yeah, seed is indeed the background. I think that's a really good way to put it.
Do we still sell orange calendula?
We sell orange calendula, but not that one. And when I was doing some prep work for this chat, I thought to myself, I'm like, I wonder why we don't, and if there'd be a way that we could potentially bring that back.
Yeah, let's bring back the retro seed. That'd be cool. And this is the right year. I mean, orange is the color thanks to Taylor Swift. So
yeah, that's. I see you're teaching me something now too.
Hey, I have teenage daughters. So yeah, Ball was founded 120 years ago selling seed. It's like we just said, it's such a core part of the business. Whenever I'm in the office for the last year, gone to see the OPEX machine and all of its evolution from just seeing the framework of it, actually before the building was even built, seeing the ground cleared, then the framework of the building, and then now being able to go and see the OPEX perfect pick machine. I'm really fascinated by it. It's such a cool piece of technology. But I guess, how do you explain it to people and growers, customers, and the value it brings to Ball Seed? Like, what are your thoughts on the OPEX machine?
Well, I too am absolutely fascinated with it. It is mesmerizing. I've asked if I could bring like a couch in so that I could, like, on my breaks, I could just sit there and watch it, because it is just mind blowing.
Yeah.
How technology has advanced, and most importantly, how it can help our customers. So in essence, the way that things worked before, we kind of had a grocery store style picking system. Mm-hmm. So one of the order pickers would go up and down an aisle, just like you do at a grocery store. They would pick items off of the shelf as needed, scan it in to make sure that it was the right item, and move on. And even our most seasoned pickers could pretty much do maybe 2 orders at a time. Mm. But typically it was just 1 order at a time. Now we have this OPEX machine, which is more like a vending machine, where the person that's doing the picking tells the machine what order or orders they're working on. And then the machine basically brings them the product. And so now someone could pick essentially like 20 orders at a time, because the machine makes it very, very easy for them to tell them, take this item out, put it in this order. And so really the speed of service is a huge benefit to our customers. Also the accuracy, like there are several checks in place with this machine to make sure that the order is accurate, the right number of packets per variety go into the order. And then also what's really nice about it is that it's stored in a room that is now much better temperature and humidity control.
Okay.
So that means that the seed quality remains high until the seed gets to the customer.
Okay. And that was going to be my next question, is if seed's sitting in the OPEX machine for a period of time, is it staying viable, keeping germination rate, but it is climate controlled?
Yeah. And it's interesting, actually, because when we get seed in from our suppliers, we buy it in bulk seed. So imagine like a big bag of petunia seed. We don't package it up into the smaller size packets for like what we anticipate needing for the whole year. We'll do it for just a through a couple of months, a few months at a
Oh,
time, so that the bulk seed stays in our vault, which is even higher temperature and humidity controlled.
okay.
And so again, that is all in an effort to provide the best quality seed to our customers.
Okay. That is a good, condensed, simplified explanation of what is an extremely complex machine and process. We do have videos and an article about the system, which I'll put in the show notes. But I appreciate that. But I will say words can almost barely describe it.
Yeah.
So for any of the
Yes.
listeners who find themselves in Chicagoland, stop by Ball. I'm sure that Josh and the Seed team would love to have you and are always happy to show folks in the industry around and certainly take a look at the OPEX machine.
100%. And one other thing that I just thought of, when you see, if you look at the video, I mean, the machine or their towers, they're very large.
Mm-hmm.
And we built it that way because so that we have room to grow.
Okay.
There's capacity to add more. So even though right now we have 5,400 plus different varieties of seed, we
Mm-hmm.
have a lot more room to grow. And that's very exciting because there's so much being done on the breeding side in the world of seed that, it's exciting. And I'll be interested to see how quickly we can fill that up.
Definitely. I know a lot of people are excited to see how quickly we can fill that up.
Yes.
Which is a perfect segue into the meat of the conversation. The real reason, like, I did want to talk about OPEX. I wanted to catch up. But the main reason I wanted to talk to you today is about the importance of seed and the fact, I think it just underscores the importance of seed to understand that a new piece of technology from a major seed distribution company is built with expansion and growth and scalability in mind, because seed is not going away. It is still a extremely beneficial way to start plants. I mean, we can talk about that. I'm sure that I just oversimplified that. But in your
Yes.
mind, and you're a guy who's been involved in seed products on so many levels throughout your career, when we think about reasons to start propagation from seed, to start professional, plant production from seed, what are some of your reasons? And I'm going to try to nail you down to 3 reasons, kind of the
Because
gold,
you know me
silver,
well
and
enough
bronze.
to know that if I had my ways, I'd be sitting here for hours talking about all of the benefits of seed. That's a very smart and wise
You said it. You said it,
decision.
not me. So you've got 3, you've got the 3 main reasons to start from seed. And so what are they? And then we can dig into them one at a time.
Sure. And I think the overlying idea behind the reasons that I chose is simply put, I think that seed solves problems.
Mm.
So, for example, let's talk about the economic benefits of starting
Yep.
from seed to start with. Like typically, seed is a lower input cost, which means that growers get higher margins off of the product that they're selling. There's typically reduced shrinkage too when it comes, like another economic benefit is the reduced shrinkage. Sometimes vegetatively propagated material can have disease concerns that seed does not have to deal with. The seedlings can tend to be more stronger, resilient. I guess this is also a really good time for me to interject that there is a ton of value and benefit to other ways of propagating plant material. And
For
so I
sure.
just want to make that clear. There's absolutely wonderful attributes to vegetative tissue culture, all that type of stuff. But yeah, there's definitely the economic benefits, I think, is a main one.
Okay.
And
Number 1.
then, yeah, that's my number one. And then also, I think just the flexibility and the efficiency of seed. Like seed does not need to be sown immediately when a customer receives it, whereas the, cuttings, they need attention right away. Seed does have a shelf life, and sometimes that shelf life can be very long, and so that's a really great opportunity to schedule things a little bit better and not need to be so urgent to get it sown immediately upon arrival. kind of in line with that and the whole scheduling control, you can do continuous productions throughout the year if you wanted, depending on what the product is. So that's another added benefit. And then the whole scalability aspect to it as well, where you can do large number of seed trays and sow them with automation. And along with that, there's also labor efficiencies, which goes back to the first benefit on the economic side of it, compared to doing some of the other ways of propagating like vegetative.
Makes sense.
And then I think, and I guess I should also preface by saying that this is not necessarily in order of priority. I'll let the listeners decide what they find to be the most important. But
right,
I
because
think
every
it's
operation's different. So you need to think
exactly,
about it that way. What are your pain points that seed can solve for you?
exactly. Yep. And then the other thing that I think I need to discuss is just the quality of the genetics and the better assortment. I had mentioned earlier, and obviously, as you know, I used to work with vegetables. Like that's a major crop that is continuing to grow in popularity in the young plant realm, and that's pretty much only available as seed.
Right.
So I think that's what the assortment aspect of it. I mean, there are just thousands and thousands of different varieties available as seed, but the quality too. It has been in the short amount of time that I've been in this role, and I've gotten to work with the world's leading seed suppliers, like looking at what they are doing from a breeding perspective and the advances that they're working on, it is really, really exciting to see what type of products are being developed from seed. And so, yeah, I think that that's something that's really exciting for me. Of course, that's part of one of the great things about my job is I get to see all of these advances and see what's coming on, and keeping in mind that the majority of these new varieties that are being introduced, hopefully, also are developed to help solve problems not only for growers but also for the end user, the consumers.
Okay.
So, drought tolerance, ease of growing, adaptability with sunlight versus shade. All of these types of things are advances that are being worked on that help us as Ball Seed color the world, and it's very exciting.
That's true.
And
And you
then,
were talking about vegetables and cut flowers as well, right? I mean, I would
oh
say the
yeah,
majority of cut flowers are grown from seed or seed raised inputs.
yeah, yep, absolutely. Well, for those of you that are listening that are not too familiar with the cut flower world, let me tell you a little secret.
Hmm.
There are so many Lysianthus varieties that until I got into this role, I had absolutely no idea because they're grouped by the time of the year that they're grown, and then the
Okay.
color, and then all of these different attributes. There's so many different types of cut flowers in general from
Yeah.
seed, let alone like the Lysianthus category on its own. There's a lot of them. It's a lot to keep up with.
Any other kind of like mind-blowing things that you've learned about since getting into the flower seed side of the
I
business?
mean, there's quite a bit, but well, I'll think about that. There has to
Okay.
be something that I can share too.
And something else you brought up that is the global nature of the seed supply.
Yeah,
And that's, I mean, just plants and, I mean, obviously we're a global business, horticulture, professional horticulture, but, constantly seeing, companies, releasing products, new varieties into the marketplace from all around the world. And
yeah.
it's
No,
such a neat aspect, I think. I
it
mean,
is.
like, how do you because Ball Seed is sourcing seed from all around the world? Is that a part of the job that you find interesting?
Oh my gosh, that is absolutely a part of my job that I find interesting. And just to your point, where the seeds are developed,
Hmm.
if it's a particular climate, that would lead to a product potentially doing well in a cool season or in a really hot season. So all of those things are kind of tied together to bring products that might not necessarily be bred or certainly not native to North America, but
Hmm.
perform really, really well there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You want to go back and talk about these three, the economics, the flexibility and efficiency, and quality and assortment. You want to dig into them a little bit? Because I got a couple questions.
Pay for them, I
All
think.
right. So we talk about the economics and the lower input cost, and I know that there's different levels of seed that a grower can buy. And some
Hmm.
premium seed can be on par with less, sort of a
Hmm.
less premium vegetative input. I'm thinking of some like branded varieties and things like that.
Yep.
Um, how does that conversation make sense to growers? Like you might be paying less for
Hmm.
seed, you might have more time to put into it versus the quicker turn of even like a rooted liner versus a seed. You're going to have to go through the propagation and the plug production. Um, when you talk about the margins for growers, can you dig into that a little bit more?
Sure. Yep. I think another really important consideration when we're talking about this is labor
Mm,
and the whole planning and scheduling for folks to come in and stick cuttings or do, what that type of stuff. This allows you to plan a little bit better with your employees
mm,
for when things need to get sown, and you have a little bit more flexibility, I think.
okay.
So that's certainly an option. But to your point, there is very, high quality, rightfully so, high price seed too.
Hmm.
Um, that hopefully those attributes can also potentially get transferred on because the consumers see the value of it as well.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then there's also the treatments that are done to the seed, which add probably add cost, but reduce
That
risk. I mean, I'm thinking of like, ball control growth and
exactly.
some of the pelleting processes. And I
Yeah.
mean, that's got to be a huge part of the discussions that you have in your role with ball seed, right?
Absolutely. And that's a really good point. I think at this time, and don't hold me to this percentage, but I think over 80% of the seed that we bring in as ball seed
Hmm.
goes through our lab for some sort of
Wow.
enhancement.
Okay.
And that enhancement is trying to add value to our grower customer. You brought up the controlled growth. The ball controlled growth it's a pelleted material that actually has a PGR
Right.
incorporated into it so that it allows a grower to do like one less spray at the beginning. It's usually marigolds and zinnias, I think, are the crops that we primarily focus that type of product on.
Hmm.
And so that also again saves money in the cost of the PGR, the chemicals themselves, as well as the labor involved in doing that application. So that's a consideration. Then you think about like multi-seeded pellets, where we offer a pellet that has more than one seed in it, depending on what the crop is, that there's a specific number that we try to target so that something doesn't need to run through the seeding machine twice. Or
Mm.
if someone's even a smaller grower that's hand sowing something, I don't know if you've ever seen the size of like a begonia seed that
Oh
is
yeah.
not coated,
Minuscule.
but it is like a speck of dust.
Right.
And so even for smaller growers that don't have large seeding equipment, it's a really nice way to get better accuracy and a more uniform crop.
Hmm.
So those are all ways that we try to enhance the seed to then make it of value to our customers.
And then when you talk about efficiency,
Hmm.
well, I guess we talk about it in the economics, the reduction of shrink, but also in the efficiency, like I started thinking about germination rates and measuring the germination of the seeds and the kind of the high standard that I know that you probably hold suppliers to and that we internally are holding,
Yes.
our own seed supply to. And you do
Yep.
hear about it, here and there is, well, we can't offer this seed this year because we've taken it off the shelf to work on
Yep.
it. And and it can be very frustrating at the time, but usually the result is, I mean, it tends to be germination related, and the result is a higher germination percentage. How can you simplify the whole germination percentage talk down to why it's super important for growers? Because I've got to believe that weighs into shrink.
So at our last sales meeting, one of the sales reps, I'm going to call her out because I remember who it was. It was Susan Stauber, said that the most expensive seed is the one that doesn't germinate.
Oh, yeah.
And it really, I had not heard that before, and it really, really hit home and makes a lot of sense. And so, to your point, of course, having the highest germinating seed is extremely important. And we want to make sure that we're providing that for our customers because we realize that one that doesn't germinate is not going to result in a sellable plant. And so, yes, there are times that we have to have something that isn't available because the germ does not meet our standards. We also, one of the other ways that we differentiate ourselves, I think, is we do cycle testing on seed. So every 6 months, we do a germination test on a seed. Now customers can go, there's a QR code on the seed packet that they can just scan, and it will automatically bring up the most recent germ tests. So if, for example, you happen to forget that you had a packet of petunias from last year in your cooler and you want to see what the most recent germ is, all you need to do is scan that QR code to see what it is and maybe have to potentially make some adjustments in how many seeds per plug you're going to be sowing, that type of stuff.
So how does that work? So you've got a packet of seeds that you bought a year ago.
Yep.
And so that lot or that batch of seeds is currently being tested.
Not always, but assuming that we still have seed of it left, we will do cycle testing.
So going back to check the actual germination rate at the time of the last test, which is more recent than when you bought the seed.
Potentially, yes. And it has the date just for reference. So if you scan that QR code, you see a 92% germ rate, it'll say underneath when that germ test was taken.
Okay.
Yep.
And that QR code on the seed packets, that's relatively new in the last couple of years, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah. I think, maybe just over a year ago.
Okay. And what's the response been to that? Do you think people are using it?
I think a lot of people do appreciate that because it gives them more up to the minute information than what's printed. The material that's printed on the actual packet cannot be changed. Right. But this gives people an opportunity. Hopefully it saves time too. They don't need to call and be like, hey, can you tell me the latest germ rate on lot number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6?
Right.
Yep.
Okay. We talk about quality of genetics and assortment. So there is still active breeding being done on seed raised crops of all varieties and species around the world. I mean, is that a true statement? Is it still a priority for breeding companies?
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Good.
Yes, absolutely. Good. And as a plant geek, that's the part of my job that I really, really get to go and see this stuff and provide feedback. And it's really exciting to see. There is no slowing down from my perspective. From breeding companies on what they're working on and developing and trying to improve. There's always, that was another thing. I used to work on the breeding side of it, and I worked with breeders. And we would be about to introduce a new variety that we were really excited about. They're already looking at an improvement. And I'm like, can you just let us introduce this one first and see how it works? But that's what breeders are supposed to be doing. And always, always, always trying to improve is, I think, the goal for all of us, really. But in particular from the breeding companies and innovate. That's the other thing. I mean, trying to find something that helps solve problems, like I discussed earlier, and something that's new and cool and different. And that's something that everyone can get excited about.
Okay, here's a wild card question.
Yep.
When someone walks in, when I walk into a garden center in spring, whether that's my local independent grower retailer or my Lowe's up the street, what percentage of the flowering plants that I see do you think are starting from seed inputs at the beginning of the supply chain?
Ooh, that
I
is
mean,
a
is it
really
50-50? Like,
good
I mean, I don't
question.
even know how to throw a
I,
number on that.
yeah, no, I would honestly think that it's higher than 50%
Okay.
seed.
Because all the vegetables,
Especially, right, exactly. So right there alone, all the vegetables are seed. And it also depends on the size of the garden center and who
true.
it's coming from. But yeah,
Right.
I would argue that more than half is from seed.
Okay. I,
Yep.
I, I completely believe that, because especially when you look at, the racks up front of combos and hanging baskets, more and more
Yep.
growers are seeing the value in starting from a plug or a
Yep.
seed input.
Yep.
And the baskets are beautiful. They're not compromising
Totally.
quality. They're still
And then you also
obviously,
think
like we've
about
said.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, when we've said, like, there's absolutely value in starting from vegetative inputs as well. I mean, some of those varieties, like, you're still not going to find many calibrachoas from
Yeah.
seed,
Yep.
although you can.
Yep.
But
Yep.
geraniums, I mean, you don't see a lot of seed geraniums because they can't compete visually with, with the vegetative ones. But certainly a lot of the, all your wave petunias, for example,
Yep.
are, huh,
And then you look at all the, the flats of things
yeah,
like marigolds and zinnias, and those are pretty much all seed
flourishes.
too. And
That's
so,
true.
yeah.
What's
Yep.
the top selling seed annual? Or like what's the seed annual with the most seeds sold?
Petunias.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. It's interesting though. There's definitely like waves and trends of things shifting, and
Right.
it'll be interesting to see how that evolves over time.
It's true. It's true.
Yep.
What's going to be the next seed crop that's going to displace or work its way into vegetative sales?
I think, like you had alluded to, there's some calibrachoas,
Hmm.
some of the petcoas, which are kind of like a
Yeah.
cross between a petunia and a calibrachoa. So you get all the nice bright colors of the calibrachoa, but the larger flowers of the petunias.
Yeah.
I'd say that those are probably what I'm seeing are the
Okay.
things that might start becoming more readily available from seed.
Okay. And then I guess from your role in acquiring or working with those seed companies, what are you looking for? If a seed breeding company came to you and said, "Hey, we've got a line of Petcoa, they're brand new. You might have seen some trials, you might not have. We're thinking about launching these." What are the questions that you're going to ask?
Well, the questions that I'll be thinking about, I don't know if I'm necessarily going to be asking directly, but is this going to be of value to our grower customer?
Okay.
I mean, that's the main thing that I'm keeping in mind when it comes to our assortment is that the quality and is there value for our customer?
Hmm.
That's pretty much what I am thinking about. And then implementing things like doing trials with some of our growers to make sure that and get their feedback because they're the ones that have to grow it. And
Sure.
so, yeah, that's pretty much what I'm thinking about.
Okay.
Uh, and quite honestly, I mean, along with that goes the economics. Like, is it going to be something that is acceptable
Hmm.
for our growers to purchase?
Yeah. So you're looking at the cost. You're looking at, does it have a germination standard that's going to be
Mm-hmm.
practical?
Yep.
Okay. Very cool.
Quality, uniformity, all of those types
Supply,
of
I would
things.
imagine, like,
Oh
is
yeah.
there going to be
Oh
seed
yeah.
available, right?
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Huh.
Yep. And there's always going to be things in full disclosure. This is a living product that we sell.
Right.
Seed is a living product and there's living plants involved in growing that seed. And there's always going to be availability issues, but trying to reduce that as much as humanly possible is also part of my responsibility.
Okay. And then when you, like, a good chunk of your role has to be making sure that the big plug growers are satisfied with the seed that they're getting, because I mean, if I look again, let's talk about that garden center in spring. They might not have propagated all those plants from
Absolutely.
seed coming in a packet from Ball Seed. Like they
Yeah.
probably didn't, frankly. They probably bought in plugs. What's the, I guess, what's your role as it relates to making sure that the big plug production operations across North America are successful? I mean, because that's a different customer in a way.
It is. You are absolutely right. And that was one of the other surprises. And I don't want to say surprised, but the amount of work and partnership and collaboration that we have with the large plug growers
Mm-hmm.
in the seed department is
Okay.
really, really important. And I'll let your listeners in on another little secret. So during the busy season on Thursday mornings, the entire morning is spent weekly talking to our major gold supply plug suppliers to make sure that we're going over any issues that are arising, any availability concerns, all of that type of stuff. Because, yeah, we have to be in constant communication with them to make sure that we're trying to nip any problems in the bud and making sure that we're aware of things that are coming in the pipeline so that we can be better prepared so that they have the seed when they need it.
Right. Well,
Yep.
and that work that you and your team does benefits thousands of growers who purchase plugs from those big plug stations, and depend on them, because
It is.
if they're getting shorted flats of
Yeah.
plug, trays of plugs, then that just flows right downhill and results in all sorts of issues. So
You are absolutely
yeah.
correct. Yes.
I think
So
that
the takeaway,
collaboration.
don't try calling me on Thursday mornings because I'll be in meetings.
There you go. There you go. I will try not to. Well, I think it's very clear that seed is a huge priority for Ball Seed. I think that your role is hugely critical, and I'm psyched that you're in that role because I like
Thank you.
working with you and talking to you. And I also think it's great that the investments in technology aren't slowing down at all. And like I said, if you're in West Chicago, give Josh a call, talk to someone at Ball Seed, go check out the OPEX Perfect Pick Machine. The amount of technology taking billions of little seeds to the next level really is remarkable. And the people, I think, it still comes down to working with people, whether they're people in the breeding companies that are looking for the cool new innovations, the people who work so hard to make sure that the seeds that are produced and sent to a distributor like Ball Seed are top quality, and then all the people within your department and the other departments that work with seed processing, seed packaging, seed supply. And we are still a people industry, even though we're talking about billions and billions of little tiny seeds.
Yep, it is absolutely, and it does take a village. And I'm glad that you brought that up because, there's a whole team responsible for making this happen. And I would be absolutely nothing without them.
That's cool. What's your favorite product that's available from a seed as the input?
I mean, of anything?
Yeah. Last time I asked you what your favorite vegetable was, and you said kohlrabi. I'll never forget
memory.
it. It was such
That's a good memory. That's good memory.
I was like, what? My grandpa liked kohlrabi, but I didn't think anyone under the age of 80 liked kohlrabi. But
no, that is a great memory, and I have failed in getting kohlrabi to be like the next tomato in people's gardens.
Now you really have an opportunity to do it. Just add a packet to every order. Like, which one, if it went away, you'd be the most sad?
Okay, let me think here.
Mine is marigolds. If marigolds,
so we're talking about
marigolds
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If marigolds went away, and you only get marigolds from seed, I think. I mean, I don't see many vegetative marigolds. If marigolds went away, I'd be depressed. My mother-in-law wouldn't have any flowers in the planters behind her house. I would just be very sad. I really like marigolds.
I'm gonna go with zinnia.
Okay.
Because I just there's so many different types that serve different needs. They're just cheerful. They make me happy when I look at them. And I think that's probably what I would be also, sad if that went away.
Yeah. No, that's really good.
But it's hard. It's like these are all my children now. I feel like I'm singling them out, and that's not very fair.
But I got to ask the question.
No, it's a good,
everybody add zinnias and kohlrabi to your seed order this year, and Josh will be happy.
Right.
Anything we missed? Anything seed related that you want to reiterate
Well,
or?
one other, I mean, the new ballseed.com website
Mm,
that just went live is pretty darn slick. And so I think that also helps tell the story of what we're aiming for on the seed side, as well as obviously our products and all of that type of stuff. But I would definitely check that out. And I think that that's something that's going to continue to evolve and
yep.
hopefully be a really good resource for our customers moving forward.
And it really is a good gateway right into the world of ball seed. I was going to ask you where folks can go for more information, but ballseed.com. And from there, it links to WebTrack,
Yep.
which is a great place to place your seed orders,
Yep.
and all sorts of technical information and good stuff. Thank you for calling that out. You
Yeah.
answered my last question before I asked it.
I'm a mind reader.
And I guess
That's
with
another
that,
one
it's a
of the
wrap.
requirements of the job. Yeah.
Right there's probably an element of that. That's very true.
Yeah.
Um,
It's called forecasting, I think. And that's
when does seed ordering or when does the busy season ramp up for you?
it is year round.
Okay.
It's you think that there's, I mean, this is when we're placing contract orders, our contracts for the upcoming year, but we still get seed in throughout the year. We try not to bring it all in at once, and so there's that whole aspect to it. And then depending, I mean, we're just finishing up pansy viola season,
Right.
so it's also crop dependent too.
It's true.
Yes.
Wow.
No rest for this one, that is for sure.
That's good. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to chat. It was fun.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. I really enjoyed it.
Cool. Well, on behalf of our entire team at Ball Publishing and the incredible folks at Ball Seed, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Take care out there.